It's hard for me to believe that this video is going to be all about overwintering. It saddens me because even though I know this time of year is coming, I hate to think about winter and the growing season being completely over, etc. But today we're going to walk around the garden and we are going to actually pinpoint what is going to be overwintered or saved indoors, protected in one way or another, versus what will I just treat as an annual or let go and things like that. I've gotten a lot of questions about it, so let's dive in. Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden. My garden is located in growing zone 8B and I am in southeastern North Carolina. First things first, let's check out the shade garden and decide what is going to stay and what is going to go. I have mainly annuals in this area because of course you know I filled the shade garden with coleus plants, and we're going to make some decisions about what coleus will stay and what won't. Now I here in zone 8B am not going to have my first frost until average around Thanksgiving time, but my temperatures are consistently in the 40s at night starting now. Because of that, I need to take the tender plants in or protect them however I can, because frost isn't the only thing that is going to kill a lot of the things that I have. All right, let's start taking a dive into this space, starting with the blushing bride caladiums. Caladiums typically are going to be hardy zones 9 to 11, which is a little warm for me, but I am kind of on a line, and other folks have told me that in zone 8 they've overwintered them successfully. I'm going to be extremely picky with my caladiums and only try to overwinter the ones that I love, which unfortunately is not going to include these. So I think these are going to go just as annuals. Now, the black beauty elephant ears, these are hardy in my zone, so these are going to be perennial for me, and I'm definitely keeping them because elephant ears are cool, and these ones really are like a spotted kind of fun look. This croton and pothos combination is something I put together last year by taking a clipping of my croton plant. I just took a clipping of the stem and was able to root it into soil. I heard you could propagate that way, so I gave it a shot. Most of my tries did not work, but this is one that did. So this whole thing has to come inside because both of these plants are extremely sensitive. But since they're in a pot like this, it's not a big deal. It's small enough in size that I can bring it in without a problem. Now the dragon's breath absolutely is just an annual, and this is a self-seeder anyway, so it's totally fine. But let's start getting into some of the beautiful things like the coleus that I have in here. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of the actual names of these coleus plants because they just came in a variety pack from Lowe's at the start of this season. So I can't tell you exactly which ones these are, but the ones at the top we just looked at in the window box are not great. I'm not going to keep any of those because they've gotten leggy or they've gotten bug damage or whatever it is. They're not looking awesome. Whereas these guys down here are absolutely looking awesome. So I'm definitely going to be saving this, whether I take like one bunch out of this pot or take a couple of clippings of it. This is phenomenal. This might be the Terrascape Queen that I started with at the beginning of the year. I think it is actually. And I have it in a very big like stone planter, and this is one of two pots that I had, and it had gotten mealybugs. This was my first mealybug problem. This is what started the infestation, but I cleared all the mealybugs off. I was able to save this amount, so I think this is the Terrascape Queen. But it's like the frilly edges are awesome, the hot pink center is awesome, so I'm definitely saving that. And then the other one I'm going to save is this one here. Now again, like I said, just came from Lowe's, so I don't know what kind it is, but it looks so good and it's so full and it's so healthy that I'm definitely going to take clippings of it too. And it's actually this colorful coleus that I love much more than like this one here that's mainly green. It's got a few speckles in there. This is okay, and for some people that want to add like a pop of chartreuse or something, it makes sense. But for me, I love color. Everything I want is colorful. So these are the two coleus that I'll be saving. Now just taking a look at the shade garden from this side, again, more Black Beauty, elephant ears over here. I do have a ton of coleus that got gorgeous, but that is just not worth it to take up the space that I have inside or in the greenhouse. This coleus I had loved because I like the coloring on it. It's kind of fading out already, probably with these real chilly nights that we've been having already. But we'll see. I have a couple pieces like this that still look pretty cool, so I might try to root him too, but he'll just be a small cutting, definitely not taking part of the big plant. This is the pink feathers coleus. This one has a different look than all the other ones. I will definitely take a clipping of that one as well. I didn't see that in like any big box stores. I got that one from a smaller nursery, so it's harder to find. So because of that, I'm gonna save it. This coleus is all gonna go. I think I'll probably end up just pulling them out of the pots and leaving the pots here to weather naturally. I think that's how I'm going to make that happen. And then over here, my begonias and the sweet potato vines. Sweet potato vines grow easily from propagations, so I don't really feel like they're valuable because you can just keep propagating them. So I'm not going to worry about that. But if anything, I would keep the begonias and possibly just allow the sweet potato vine to stay in the same pot. But this one, this begonia plant is extremely healthy, and I have overwintered begonias in the greenhouse before, and they've stayed awesome and continued to bloom all winter long. Again, since it's a smaller size pot, I'm going to make room for that. All right, as we exit the shade garden, let's start talking about some other tropical style plants. This is my bougainvillea here, my first original one with the magenta flowers. It's Barbara Karst is the variety. It looks very scraggly right now, again, probably because it's too cool for its liking. This is coming inside. Bougainvillea is expensive, in my opinion. I am trying to save expensive plants. That's what the whole point is. I only have so much room to overwinter. All right, let's talk about this hibiscus. Unfortunately, this hibiscus is gonna go. He lived with me in the greenhouse last year. He's fine. He got much taller because he's been with me for a while, but it's standard. Hibiscus, typically you can find them for about $15 a plant, maybe 20 at the most. But like the bougainvillea, for example, is 30 or 40. It's a lot more. So I'm probably not going to overwinter that particular hibiscus. These caladiums had overwintered in the ground last year, the only ones that I had that overwintered successfully. So I'm literally going to overwinter in that manner right here. Just by putting extra layers of mulch to protect their bulbs. That's all I'm doing for these guys. We cannot talk about tropical plants without talking about my favorite. This is the mandevilla / diplodenia. Yes, they're like cousin plants. These are my absolute favorite, and because this color came out for the first time in 2025, I will be overwintering this pot. It's not even a question. I've already decided it because it could potentially be rare. I don't know if I'm going to find the purple again in 2026. So this pot, exactly as it is going to come inside. The Creeping Jenny, I honestly didn't overwinter that in the greenhouse previously, so I don't know what it'll do. It might die back. It might stay gorgeous like that. I'm not sure, but it's worth it to bring the pot in for that mandevilla. Some other tricky things would be like, this is the Pineapple Express mangave, which is super cool with its spots on it. Now the mangave is hardy up to my zone 8. I took it out of the ground last year and brought it inside and brought it back out again. I'm fine doing that with this one at that size. However, the second one that I had, I left out. And what happened was all the foliage died back, and I thought, oh no, I'm going to lose the whole plant. But no, it grew all of this back during this growing season this year. So I think I'm going to do the same thing. Bring one in, leave one out, and it's just a test. We're just going to see what happens. Oh gosh, and here's some of my favorite things that I really am saving a lot of greenhouse space for. This pot right here, obviously you can see I have the tropical hibiscus down below. This is the bougainvillea that's purple. I have one on this side of my waterfall, and then the waterfall right there with the red flowers in it. On the other side, I have another pot identical to this. I got this plant for Mother's Day from my kids, both of them, and I decided right away, purple bougainvillea, expensive plant. It got quite big this year. I'm keeping it. So I need to save space in the greenhouse for that plant. Now, here's the mandevilla that I put in here that was overwintered from last year. Most of this was overwintered from last year. I kept it in the greenhouse. In the greenhouse, the mandevilla continued to bloom all winter. Now, other mandevilla that I brought inside my house, I like to keep things inside my garden tub in my master bathroom, it did not flower. The mandevilla stopped flowering for the whole winter and didn't start again until it was outside in the warm temperature and sunlight for probably close to a month, and then it started up again. So the point, these guys are coming in. They're my favorite flowers. That makes them super valuable to me. They're annuals for a lot of people, but they're my favorite. Here is the other bougainvillea I was just talking about. Now this one's actually blooming up at the top, so you can see the flowers that I'm talking about. But yes, this other big pot is coming into the greenhouse. So looking at this end of the pool, I will show you two big pots that are not coming inside this year. This hot pink cordyline that goes with the purple heart draping out of the pot that completely fills this pot up has overwintered in my greenhouse since I had it. This will be my 4th winter having the greenhouse, and this pot overwintered inside my actual house the year before that. So what is that? 4 winters. That one as well as that one. And here's the thing. I found out last year that I can overwinter cordyline in my ground and it will come back for me. So because of that, both of these items are actually perennial in my area. I am not taking these pots in. So they will die back. There will be leaf loss. The purple heart will completely die back. But because those two huge pots are not coming into the greenhouse, I think it will be absolutely fine to have the 2 huge pots of bougainvillea come in. All right, heading down the blue boardwalk a little bit more. This is the pygmy date palm. They sell these at garden centers more as like house plants, really. I think originally maybe it was $15. They're not overly expensive, but they're also not cold tolerant. So this guy, same deal. He's lived with me for like 5 years, so he's going to also come inside. I'm not going to let him go now that he's gotten this big, but look at my one big problem I'm going to have. His pot busted open. I can't even spin it. Oh, there we go. His pot busted open, and I was like, oh no. So I tried to duct tape it with the same color tape as the pot is, just so I can keep it in here. It worked for this year, but he's gonna need a brand new pot, I guess, for next year. So that stinks, but what a gorgeous specimen. No way he's staying outside to die. Now this style tropical hibiscus, which is more of like the double bloom style, and it came as a braided tree, he is going to be overwintered inside because the braided trees are a little bit more money, or to get them less expensive, they're small. So this one becomes more valuable, and he's coming inside. Canna lilies, look at this. I got a fresh new flower coming, but they don't like the cold either. No canna lilies will come inside because they don't need to. This pot is a majestic palm, also sold as a house plant in Lowe's or wherever, and I got that as a gift from my son. He will be coming inside. I think I'm bringing him to my office though. He can live inside the office for the winter. These caladiums are both Monrovia plants. They, you can see, are on their very last legs. They just don't like the cold, and it has been cold nights. So I think I'm just going to let them both go. If they happen to come back here because their bulbs survive, it's a bonus, but I'm not going to try for it. This snake plant, yes, he is coming inside. He only lives outside for the winter. But you know what's so funny about them? You know how they throw up new shoots continually? This pot is literally bursting at the seam because these shoots are pushing all the way to the edge. So look, this is a ceramic planter. It's one of those really pretty, like, you know, heavy stone, and it's cracking because of the pressure of the snake plant. So he will have to be divided up, no doubt, but he is 100% coming inside to live with me. All right, what's happening over here? My poolside arrangements are suffering. We got some bugs happening over here. I saw some little caterpillars eating my irisine. The irisine I bought in springtime just because I didn't know what it was. It turned out it was awesome for these planters, but it's gonna go. I'm cutting it back completely. No need to even try to save it at all. It did awesome all year. It was super poofy, super pink and beautiful. He can go to sleep now. These red begonias, yeah, they're staying. I'm going to overwinter those inside because, like I said, the begonias that did well, I'm keeping them. And this one was a bonus plant for me this year. This is a bromeliad that came from my uncle's property in Florida, and it has gotten huge this year. Since it's my first time ever having it, I can't let it die. So he has to come in too, which means out of these two poolside pots, to remember what they look like, look at that, I got some fire ants happening underneath there. I have like that big jug and then a smaller version of it. This big jug will come inside and live probably in the greenhouse. We'll see how much room we have. All right, getting this view so you can see where the pool is. You see these banana trees are hardy banana trees, so they'll die back for the winter, but I don't have to do a single thing to protect them. Not here. Well, they're cold tolerant. This is what the greenhouse currently looks like. The reason I'm pointing it out is because I do have some work that has to be done before I can have plants live in here successfully. And unfortunately, life always gets in the way, and my husband and I don't start getting the greenhouse in order until it's too late. Now, last year, we had our friends come and help us replace 95% of the panels on this greenhouse. This year, we just have to do the remaining panels. Like the front door, you can see like this crack in here. These plastic panels actually start to disintegrate. So this was already happening last year too, but we did not have enough material to replace the front doors. So the front doors have to be done, and the like little skylight windows, you can see that guy just completely disintegrated and fell right in. So it's not a lot of work to do compared to the rest of the entire greenhouse. Like I said, that was done last year. That was way more work. Nevertheless, has to get done before plants can be in here. We had built this shelving unit the year before, so 2 years ago. I love it because I could pot on here if I want to. I can store plants on here if I want to. It is absolutely fabulous. The only other thing I was thinking, we were talking about either building some shelving over on this side, or perhaps I can hang some plants from the wooden beam that we made as part of our structure here. Something like that, just so I have a little bit more room. Extra shelving would be fabulous. This is what the plastic looks like. It's just got its white film on it that you peel off. This is what we had left from our replacement of the panels last year. All right, let's go back out and see what else we're going to save. No to the dragon's breast celosia. The gomphrena over here, which is the little cutie pie bally blooms. I'm not going to save any of that either. It's an annual for me, but if it self-seeds, bonus. The lantana is going to be amazing, so no need for that. Okay, so over here. This is a perfect spot to look at right here because I said the red hibiscus wasn't going to come in. The very first one next to the start of the secret garden wasn't going to come in because I said it wasn't really worth it because you can get them cheap enough. But the yellow one's a little bit more special, and I only had him for this year. So I do think I'm going to put the yellow one in the greenhouse. We'll see. We'll see. And then this caladium is just more special to me than the blushing bride style or the other ones I showed you, the Monrovia ones. I just love this one to pieces. So this one I'm going to try to save. In what way, you ask? Great question. I think I'm going to see if I can divide it up at all. And if it looks like I can, I'll bring some of it indoors and then perhaps leave the rest of it inside the ground. But this is my favorite. He's been so solid and sturdy, and I don't want to part with it if I don't have to. Now, caladiums are not overly expensive, but when you're buying multiple plants in a year, it adds up. This little planter combo with like the little tuts on the inside. We have some of the coleus, that's the draping style coleus on the outside, etc. We'll see. If I can keep some of it alive, I will, but it's not going to be the end of the world if I can't. That right there is the example of the cordyline that I did overwinter straight into the ground last year. So it grew up like this just this year alone. So again, that's why I'm not bringing in those pots of cordyline and purple heart. As far as what we have happening over here, same sort of deal. I love this coleus because it's got the hot pink in it. Maybe I'll save it if I have the room. But my ladyhead planter, sometimes she comes in and just is like kind of company for me in the greenhouse. But both of the, oh, look at the tiniest lizard curled up in her hair. Oh my gosh. Anyway, both the lemon coral sedum as well as the cascading rock sedum, they're hardy for me, so I don't need to bring those in. I would only do it because you know how it is, the planter ends up looking cool and you don't want to let it go. Outside of that, anything I have over here, the pink begonias, I don't really care one way or the other because they're only all right, you know, right now. And the asparagus fern is cool to have as a pot filler and such. So maybe that just whole pot of these guys will come in together again if I have the room. Red begonias, these ones I do want to save. It's just different. The red performed amazingly. The pink is just a little bit more sparse. So this red, which is also in a pot incidentally, this is definitely coming inside, and I will end up dividing it up because it got so big this year, and I'll be able to enjoy it in multiple spots next year. All right, what do we have over here? We have some ornamental peppers. Nope, not overwintering. They're annual only. This pot where, again, I have the hot pink coleus, could or don't have to, either way. But I love the coloring, so it's kind of like maybe I'll just take a clipping, let it root in some water, or let it root in a little pot and have it inside. It's really not that big of a deal because it doesn't have to take up a lot of space. And here's that cordyline again. So we already know, doesn't need to take up the space. Oh, you guys, I'm kind of saying goodbye to my favorite pot arrangement that I've had going all year long. So I've had the amazing Diplodenia in here, which has performed great. I've had the asparagus fern in the back, which has performed great. No yellowing, like no problems with this whatsoever. And then I had the gorgeous caladium inside. You look at how wimpy he is. Just not happy, not in love with these temperatures, and I get that. So this pot is coming to an end. I could potentially put it up on a shelf inside the greenhouse and see if the bulbs stay for the caladiums. Maybe I can enjoy this pot again next year. Likely that will be the idea just because it's been beautiful. Nothing else really. My whole DIY easel is going to die back. Again, I could save a little bit of the sweet potato vine, but it propagates so easily, I don't really need to waste the space on it. The Vinco is meant to be an annual. Dragon's Breath, Purple Heart are, nothing needs to come inside there. And then in these little pots over here, the Dianthus is a perennial, so he has lived in this pot already, so this pot can stay out. The snapdragons and the boxwood can stay out. And then on this side, this mandevilla, just didn't do as absolutely great as some of the others because we had some bugs on this one. He started to get the mealy bugs just like the coleus and some other things I had. So I'm not overly concerned about saving anything in this pot. Out in my front gardens, in my peninsula garden area, I also have this purple mandevilla. Same deal. He's going to come in too. Now I can see his leaves are already starting to look a little weak because maybe he wanted to come in already. But I'm going to do my best and see if I can't get him to stay okay throughout the winter. At least the other pot by the start of the secret garden looks amazing. So I think that one will at least be fine and we'll go from there. All right, nothing else over here. Of course, these mums are on their way out, but I don't care. I just want to see if I can show you the green lizard sitting on the yellow. And then the little tiny baby. Oh, he just went in. Oh, now he just went in. Okay, that's fine. These geraniums were clearance purchase, so even though they look so bright and vibrant still right now, nah, they're not going to come in. And nothing else over here. This, again, starting to look tired already just because of the time. But I have this mandevilla in this huge pot for a number of years now. 4 years, 5, I don't know. And I just bring this pot right inside. It sits inside my art studio. And I've had this mandevilla come back. And I've had this snake plant, you know, both of them living in here together for years. Now this is the orange tree that I bought from that clearance sale. Technically it can survive outside. What are you called? Calamondin? Calamondin, yeah, I guess so. So it's an orange tree. And it says nothing. It does not say what zone it is on this. I looked it up. And I think it can live outside with winter protection. So I might just get a huge pot for it and try to keep it protected in that. Or it's also going in my art studio temporarily until I figure out a better solution. Everything else is on its way out. My volunteer tomatoes are on their way out. My planters are also on their way out. Again, the caladiums just can't take it when it gets to be this cold, and I just don't blame them. However, the flax lily, which is my foliage plant in the back there, heck yeah, that looks amazing still. That is a perennial, so I'm keeping that. Whether I put it into my landscape or use it in these urn planters again, either way is absolutely fine with me. So I guess that's more or less it. The purple mandevilla and the purple bougainvillea have to come in because they're both valuable and a little bit more on the rare side. Things that I can propagate easily, like the sweet potato vine or even the coleus, it's going to be hit or miss. I'm just going to select some of my favorite pieces and only keep those. So the begonias, I've decided yes. The red hibiscus tree, braided tree, and the yellow hibiscus regular tropical style, I think those will both come inside. So you kind of get a feel for if I feel like there's a value in the plant, it's worth keeping it indoors, keeping it safe, and then it's ready to already be blooming by the time early spring comes out. I get to plop everything back outside and it's like I have a head start. I feel like the greenhouse for me has been worth it. But trust me when I say greenhouses are a lot of work and there is a learning curve involved in them. So now that I'm on my 4th winter with my greenhouse, I feel like I've gotten good money out of it and I've saved a lot of plants. Not to mention I've saved my own sanity because I get to be in there with my plants in the winter time, which is huge. As a gardener, you just want to be with your plants all the time. So it's become a sanctuary for me as well. Not to mention the greenhouse chat videos that we started last winter where we talked about some really important things that are near and dear to our hearts as gardeners. So that has been really awesome as well. So I feel like it's great to have that space if you can, but holy cow, like I said, there's a learning curve for it. And as I said, I've had to replace all of the panels in my greenhouse after 2 full winters. They had to be replaced. there's a lot of cost involved in doing all of that. Anyway, I hope this was helpful in showing you some of the things that I will overwinter and what I'm choosing not to, because as I said, I've had a lot of questions about it. Let me know if you have more questions or if there's more things that I need to cover, but certainly you'll see as I'm bringing things indoors or taking my cuttings and things like that. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already, and follow me on social media at My Carolina Garden. Until next time, you guys, happy planting.